Hello and welcome to the Wisdom for Life podcast. My name is David Baker. Hey, we have a short thought for the day. I want to help you. Have you ever been burdened? Do you ever have a heavy burden? Do you have something right now that is a weight on you that you carry, that you wonder when is it going to ever go away? And sometimes you wonder maybe it won't ever go away. How do you handle that? What do you do with that? The world has all the ways that they cope with things like that, from alcohol to drugs to prescriptions to immorality to different things in life. And they may ease the pain for a while. They may distract you from the pain and the burden. The problem is it always comes back bigger. Job's friends were called miserable comforters. And the things of the world, when we're going through a hard time, they are also miserable comforters. I'd like to give you something that Jesus said, one of my favorite little passages, to help people, encourage people when they're down, when they're burdened. I'm not going to take time to go into all the things, but you know right now, if you have a burden, you're carrying a burden, and someone asks, what's wrong? And you don't want to talk about it. You say nothing. But there is something, and it's big, and it's weighing you down. So what did Jesus say? Very simple. You know the verses, but let me explain it. Matthew 11:28. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Oh, boy, doesn't that sound good? Rest. Boy, you ever been tired, really tired? I mean, boy, up so long, you just couldn't wait. There's a worse tired than that, is when you're emotionally tired, when you carry that burden for days, for weeks, for months, even years. You don't know what to do. Jesus said, come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden. You have this heavy burden on. And he said, I will give you rest. All right, good, good, good. How are you going to do that? Here he said, take my yoke upon you. Whoa, yoke? Wait, the yoke is a burden. I already have a burden. I don't need another burden, and I don't need your burden. My burden's heavy enough, and you want me to take your burden, your yoke? No, no, no. Sorry. I wonder how many people could get relief, could get rest, but they don't because they're not willing to pick up the yoke of Jesus. What is that? Here it says, take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. Wow, not just rest, but rest for your soul. Rest for that weary part of the inside of you that just doesn't know what you're going to do and how you're going to make it. You shall find rest in your souls, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Let me ask you, the burden that you carry, can you change it? Can you fix it? Obviously not, or you would. Is that right? Many times in life, God will allow us to have a burden in our life that is bigger than what we can fix, bigger than what we can handle. So what Jesus says is, come to me. And I'm going to give you rest, but here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to give you rest by, I want you to take my yoke. Now, he doesn't say he's going to take yours. It may be inferred there. But he says his yoke is easy and his yoke is light. And so when you take his yoke, then he is going to help you and lift you because his yoke is light and his burden is easy. So what is it? What's his yoke? What's his burden? What is Jesus' burden about? He doesn't need money. He doesn't have a wife. He doesn't have kids. He doesn't have to live on this earth. He doesn't have health issues. So what is it? What could be this burden that Jesus carries? He said, take my yoke upon you. What's his burden? He is not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. What is the burden of the Lord? That people would be saved. That's his burden. So what are we supposed to do? I can't fix mine. I can't change mine. So, all right, I'm going to pick up Jesus' burden. And I'm going to show someone how to go to heaven. I'm going to tell someone about Jesus. I'm going to tell someone that Jesus loved them and died for them and paid their hell for them. And here's how you can accept Jesus as your Savior. I'm going to help somebody else. And boy, when you do that, it's amazing how God will give you rest and rest for your souls. Years ago, I'm a young preacher then in my 20s, and burdens hit and life hits and problems hit. So I learned something real early on. When I was having a burden, I'd do one of two things. I would go find someone to show how to go to heaven, or I'd go see Sarah Duncan and Zelda Swan. How come? They were both in their 80s, sweet, wonderful, godly widow women. I'd go visit them. They thought, oh, so sweet, you're coming to see us, to help us and encourage us? No, not really. I didn't tell them that. They know now they're in heaven. I would come for me because I was burdened. And I knew that if I went to help somebody else, that somehow my burden would be lighter. And it is. This week I took a young man out sewing, and boy, 3 days, his last 3 days have been horrible, down, discouraged, frustrated. We went out and got to show some people how to go to heaven, got to encourage and help some people. And it was amazing. We got back in the car, boy, we were so excited. It was amazing. We pulled up to where he stays, and people said, wow, I haven't seen you smile in 3 days. What happened? He picked up the yoke of God, the burden of God, and cared about somebody else. He can't fix his problem, but he could help somebody else with theirs. Last little story, years ago, I had a lady in our church, and you name the problem, she went through it. Like, think of something really bad, she had that, and then worse. Think of something like even worse than that, and it got worse. One of those, her only son, got killed in a drunk driving accident, and he wasn't doing well. And they called me from the hospital. They knew me. My wife and I drove over and knocked on the door at 2 in the morning. It's not a good thing when the preacher and his wife are at your door at 2 in the morning. We had to tell her what happened. We had to drive her to the hospital. She had to see her son and identify the body. That was tough. She had already gone through a gigantic thing. After that, she went through a bigger thing. Then she lost her son, which was bigger. And the last one I'm not even going to tell you, but she had a bigger burden than that. And she came to see me, and if there's anyone that I ever saw that was getting ready to have a nervous breakdown, it was her. Just could hardly talk, could hardly function, could hardly think. And I said, I can help you if you'll let me. I learned this from my pastor. And I said, but I want to tell you what to do, and I can help you, but I don't want you to argue or think through it. I just want you to do it. Would you do it? It took a long time. She finally said yes. I said, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go home right now. I want you to bake some cookies. And she looked at me like a mean, hard look. I said, you said you're not going to argue. I want you to go home and bake some cookies. I want you to go to this nursing home around the corner. I want you to go up to the front desk and say, I'm here to visit. Is there anybody who doesn't get a lot of visits who's not diabetic? I've got sugar, cookies with sugar in it. And they'll direct you to some people. And I said, you go share a cookie with them and just talk to them. She was mad. She didn't want to do it. She tried to backtalk. I said, nope, nope, nope. You said you'd do it. We're not going to talk about it. She left so mad. Sorry, the next day she didn't talk to me. Sorry that after that she didn't talk to me. The next day she's like, I can't take it anymore. I got to tell you what happened. Big smiling grin on her face. She told me every story of the people that she met and how she helped them. And some she prayed for, they're already saved. Some she got to show how to go to heaven. Guess what happened? God healed her. Guess what happened? She found rest. She found rest for her soul because she was carrying the burden of the Lord, trying to help people whom most people don't care about. I love nursing homes. I've spent hundreds and hundreds of hours in nursing homes. Sweet, dear, older men and women. Many of them do not know for sure that they're on the way to heaven. What a special opportunity to go tell them about Jesus. They can't do anything for me. Oh, no, they can. Because when I take the Lord's burden and I show them how to go to heaven, guess what it does for me? Well, it lifts any burden. Any heavy thing that I'm carrying, it's gone. Hey, do you want to get some rest? Some rest for your soul? Then take the Lord's burden. Go help somebody else. Show somebody how to go to heaven. Amazing what will happen. You say, well, I really don't know what to say or what to do. That's okay. You don't have to know. Here's a simple little website. It's got the video. It'll do it all for you. www.5-16-30.com. What? 5-16-30.com. What in the world is that? Go watch it. You'll see it and share it with somebody. If you don't know what to say, just send it to them. Say, hey, well, watch this and let me know what you think. Okay? Be amazing what can happen for their eternity and for your soul and for the burdens that you carry. It's super important to live our life carrying the burden of the Lord. And it's amazing how it's light and how it lifts us no matter what we're going through. Hey, God bless you. We'll talk to you next time.